Hi, this is Barry Wilbur of GRN Seattle, the data analytics recruiter. Are you frustrated trying to find the right talent in the data analytics market? You know, data analysts, data engineers, data scientists, chief data officers, etc. Does it feel like you're buried under a stack of underqualified or unqualified candidates, like you're looking for a needle in the haystack? And by the way, when you find that great talent, are you struggling with actually closing them before they accept an alternate offer with somebody else or your competitor? These are really interesting times in the data analytics market. Things are moving extremely fast at warp or hyperdrive speed. You have to know what you're looking for, and you have to move with speed and accuracy, and your processes and practices must align with that. Leadership IQ recently did a study. They were looking at it and trying to understand what's the impact or what's the risk associated with a mishire. Perhaps your process isn't quite aligned. Well, this is what they found. 46%, just under half, 46% over an 18-month period were listed as mishires. You hire somebody and within 18 months, it is a failure. Only 1 in 5 were listed as unequivocal success. Those are not good odds. But what's the cost associated with making a mishire? Well, Dr. Bradford Smart did a study, and he found that a manager making as little as $100,000, and let's face it, in the data analytics market, it's going to be, the salaries are going to be above $100,000 for managers, just saying. A manager making as little as $100,000, the impact to the company if it's a mishire is $1.5 million. That's significant. Risks are high, costs are high, but you need to find the right talent that can really bring the value for your company, help your career for that matter as well. And by the way, let's face it, if you bring in a rock star, you bring in an A player, the results that they're going to achieve are significantly better than your average player, on the order of 10 times better. But true rock stars are not on the market very long. In fact, many of them are not even on the market. Because of the speed issue, a number of companies will actually deploy a multi-recruiter strategy. And I just want to talk about that a brief minute. What I'm talking about is engaging multiple contingent recruiters to try and find candidates and to cover the waterfront as quickly as possible. The strategy goes something like this: if one is good, more is better. Interesting. But, by the way, the company feels protected because they're only going to pay for the one who brings the candidate to them first, the one who is fastest to the draw. Here's what that creates, though, in the reality. Number one is your contingent recruiters are going to be finding that they have to trade off quality over speed. They have to get speed over accuracy. They have to bring you a candidate quickly, or somebody else will bring you that same candidate, and unfortunately, they won't get paid. What that means is you're going to start to see the fog a mirror kind of candidates, candidates that have an alphabet soup of technologies and tools on their resume that sound like they're interested, and they look to get them in front of you as quickly as possible before somebody else does. But here's what's really interesting, and here's the dirty little secret on what happens. In the contingency game, a best practice, they're trained on this, is that if you get a good quality candidate, you don't present them to only one client. You present them to multiple clients. So what that means is the candidate that you really fell in love with, the one that you really like, is actually being presented to multiple other companies. Your favorite candidate is also their favorite candidate, your competitor, or company C's favorite candidate. And as you put an offer on the table, so is company A, so is company B. All of a sudden you've got a bidding war. So the salaries are actually going to rise up in this case. And by the way, you may not even be able to secure that great candidate. Your favorite candidate goes off somewhere else. This is not a great situation, and you're not getting what you want. And by the way, if you get multiple cooks in the kitchen, you're likely to have some real miscommunication and some changes on what you really want as your brand out in the marketplace and out with the candidates. So instead of finding candidates that are flooding the resume boards, that have their resumes filled, or flooding the job boards, or filling their resumes with this alphabet soup of tools and technologies, or having great candidates presented to multiple companies, maybe it's time for a higher level search. Maybe it's time for you to consider an alternative. I mean, what would it mean if you were able to choose from premier talent, true rock stars? They're not available elsewhere. And by the way, they may not even be actively looking. The candidates that would be exclusive to you, not shared with other clients until you make a decision on the candidate. What if there was a standardized and reliable qualification process that not only ensured and engaged your success, but it was at a level that the company was able to put a hiring guarantee behind it of up to 12 months? GRN Seattle provides you with that level of service because we are the data analytics recruiter. GRN Seattle is a part of Global Recruiters Network. Forbes magazine has identified GRN as one of the top executive and professional search firms in North America year after year. And by the way, GRN Seattle uniquely specializes in the data analytics market. We know the market, we know the players, we know how to set you up for success, and we know how to differentiate the contenders from the pretenders. In fact, we're so confident in our abilities that we do offer you that 12-month guarantee. Are you tired of sub-optimizing your hires? Are you ready to make a step shift towards quality candidates so that you can choose among true rock stars? Maybe now's the time to engage in a conversation. You can book a conversation below, a consultation, free consultation. We can talk about hiring processes, practices, what the market is looking like, what you can be doing to set yourself up for success, or how we might be able to engage and help you win the battle for the war on talent in the data analytics market. Again, Barry Wilbur, GRN Seattle, the data analytics recruiter. I look forward to talking with you.